that she can introduce our guest. Wonderful, wonderful human being who reached out to me a little while ago and said, you know what, let's join forces. Let's try to get our teams together, even though we don't financially benefit off each other. Let's join forces for the better of everybody. And a wonderful, amazing leader in this organization. She's an Emerald executive. She drives a beautiful Mercedes-Benz paid for by the company. And my friend and business partner, Miss Carrie Gary.
Well, thank you, Dawn. And without Dawn, we wouldn't have this fabulous equipment to work with because I'm computer illiterate, so we wouldn't have any of that. Well, I'm so excited to see all your happy, shining faces here with us this evening. It's so fun to have all of you guys here, and you're in for a special treat tonight because we have some amazing guest speakers. And the first speaker that I would like to introduce is a fabulous lady that I've had the pleasure to get to be in business with and get to really know better. She's an amazing woman who's actually battled cancer for most of her life. She has world champion cutting and reining horses and lives in a small town called Okie, Oklahoma. But it's fun to get to hear her because you'll get to know that she's not originally a Okie. So please help me welcome Dr. Pat Andersen.
Okay, guys, this is better. The last time we came, there was just a few of you, and I gave the challenge. I said, the next time I'm here, I want double the size, and you did it. Awesome. Welcome to all the guests. Who are the guests in the room? Wow. Thank you so very much. Give them a hand. I really appreciate you taking the time out to listen to what we have to share. And that's what we're doing here. We're going to talk about the most amazing botanical I've ever seen. And so we're going to share all that information with you tonight. And as Carrie said, Carrie, actually I'm from Sallisaw, Oklahoma. I just say I'm from an Okie town. Okay, so that's what when I come to a place like this where you have 1 million people, my town and the whole area, there's 8,000. And I've been able to build my business starting there and spreading out. And I think I have people in just about every single place that Zija's open. And we're open in 33 countries as of this week, I think. Yeah. 33 countries around the world. And I know there's quite a few more that are going to be opening up this year. And who wouldn't like a business in Malaysia here? Yeah. All over the place. And that's all we're doing is we're sharing the product, which in turn can share an opportunity for those of you that would like it. So there's something, I love it when Ann says, there's something in this room for absolutely everyone. There's product and a business opportunity. And so we want to talk about the product tonight a lot because I am just so excited. I have one of our newest, please come on in, one of our newest members to Zija International in the last year. Joshua Plant is... I've just gone on a 3-day road trip with him, and it's just been a hoot.
And she's next to me.
He graduated out of Harvard, top of his class, and what he is bringing to our company is absolutely amazing. So we will talk a little bit about the business in a while, but I really want, from one of the formulators, to talk in depth about the product because, to me, we've got a great company, right? We've got the management. We've got, as you saw on the video there, we've got the facilities. We've got the brand new manufacturing plant. In fact, we just bought another manufacturing plant in the last while. We've got everything in place to be a billion-dollar company. But you can have all that. But if you don't have a product, can you sell it? No. We have the most amazing because of the Moringa tree. So please, everyone, welcome Joshua Plant. So I want Joshua to tell you about himself and why Zija, because this is really important for all the new people here.
Well, Pat just did a dangerous thing by asking me to talk about myself. So we got a few hours. So, no. So my name is Joshua Plant, and for those that don't know me, they usually refer to me as Dr. Plant. But once they realize they get to know me, they don't ever want to associate that title with me again. They lose all respect for me. No, so I'll give you a little bit of background on myself. I've spent about 10 years researching natural products and the effect that they have on the body, specifically at the cellular level. And so my work started when I was just as an undergraduate, and I was studying, in essence, cancer cells. And there's a common drug that is used that comes from a natural tree that is very effective and is the most readily used chemotherapy drug. But we really didn't understand the mechanism by how this worked. And during my undergraduates, I was able to stumble upon some of that research. And the NIH got wind of this research and invited me to come out and speak at a national conference. And from that, they then extended me a fellowship to work at the National Institutes of Health, the National Cancer Institute, for about 2 years. And then while I was there at the NIH, I studied breast cancer, and I looked specifically at how breast cancer metastasizes throughout the body. Again, using natural products as a basis for understanding this. And this has always been a theme of mine. And then Harvard reached out to me and asked me to apply there, where I went to Harvard Medical School, and I was able to graduate. Luckily for me, they paired me with the remedial class, so I was able to graduate first in my class. But again, I looked at cellular level with natural products. And what I looked at there is what we call cell symmetry. A lot of times we think of a cell as kind of this bag of goop, so to speak, that's in our body. But it's far from that. The cell is a highly organized, microscopic part that is, in essence, living on its own. And how does it know where things go inside the cell? And that really intrigued me. And what I found is that many of these natural products help establish that cellular symmetry that is needed and help reconfirm that. And then after I graduated, I did a fellowship at the out west at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. And when I was there, I looked at, kind of changed the course, and I looked more at the cellular stress that cells undergo in overweight individuals. And this was something that was really intriguing to me to help me understand how I want to take my career going forward. And when all was said and done, in the course of my 10 years of researching natural products, the Moringa tree always stood out to me. This to me was just an amazing tree that had what I believed unlimited potential that really wasn't harnessed truly scientifically yet. And so I wanted to take my scientific expertise to this plant. And so I actually reached out to Zija, asked if they were looking for somebody to help them formulate new products and to continue to study Moringa. And Ken Brailsford, the founder of Zija, in his moment of weakness said yes. And I remind him of that horrible mistake every day. And it's been a great 9 months so far.
9 months, yeah. But they just let him out.
Yeah. I actually have a remote shock collar. Ken's hearing in right now. Whenever I ever say something inappropriate, I'll get a quick little zap. So I've been touring a little bit here and there, but it's a lot of fun. This is actually, when I was looking at Zija, there was two things that really interested me. One, of course, was the Moringa plant. But two, network marketing. I actually wanted a company where this was the method of distributing the product. Because to me, there is nothing greater than being able to communicate with those that you love and with your friends about something that's very important to you. And with something that's so special as health and so personal as health, I feel that there's no better way to communicate it than through a network marketing group. And so another reason why I sought out Zija.
Mm-hmm. So that's pretty awesome, guys. He sought out Zija, not the other way around. And that is really important because he could have gone anywhere. He could have gone to a medical, he could have gone to research, anywhere, but he picked us. So what we want to do right now is, how about we talk about Moringa and all of the 92 nutrients. So 46 antioxidants. Why are antioxidants important to the body?
Yeah. This is something that has been kind of a buzzword in the last 10 years, I'd say, antioxidants. Is there anyone old enough to remember before antioxidants became known, right? Somebody, let's say, in the 60s or 70s, I don't know how to phrase that. How do I phrase that properly?
There is power way.
Is there anyone wise enough to the point where antioxidants was not in the common nomenclature. Right? So this is something that's right? This is something that has only come up in the last few years. And the reason is because as scientists, it's becoming more and more critical. This antioxidants, what this really means. All right? So we'll break down this word, oxidant, right? Oxidant is actually oxygen. We breathe in oxygen all the time. And the way our body metabolizes oxygen or uses oxygen is it actually has to break this oxygen molecule apart. And what that does is it creates what we call free radicals. And these free radicals, our body usually has ways of getting rid of these free radicals. But when we, in essence, well, let me take that. Let me explain what these free radicals do. These free radicals are kind of like little graffiti artists, if you will, that will actually go into our cells, and little by little, they will start to damage the cell. They will bind to this protein. They will bind to this macromolecule. They'll bind to this, and they will change its chemical structure to where, in essence, it becomes inert and ineffective. To eventually the point of where the cell is no longer functional. Right? As I mentioned, oxygen gives a lot of free radicals, and our bodies, for the longest time, have been breathing oxygen, as long as I can remember at least, right? But we get these antioxidants through the nutrients, through our diets, is largely how we get these antioxidants. And what the problem is why all of a sudden antioxidants have become so important is because our diets have changed so significantly to where we are not getting the antioxidants that we once were. And now these free radicals, in essence, these little vandals that are running throughout our body, damaging our cells, are in full force. Right? You never have heard of a Big Mac advertising how many antioxidants they have, right? There is a reason for that, is because antioxidants are extremely fragile, very difficult to preserve. And companies will actually go out of their way to rid food of the antioxidants so that it has a longer shelf life, and which ultimately brings our demise, right? So Moringa's got 46 antioxidants. And what makes Moringa so powerful in this antioxidant category is not necessarily the amount of antioxidants, which so many people advertise to be the important thing, but it's the breadth of antioxidants, right? So it's not one single antioxidant that's just so much. It's got 46 different ones. And what this means is that one antioxidant may be able to, in essence, handcuff this type of free radical, but it's not able to do a different type of free radical. So having such a breadth of free radicals, Moringa is able to be such an effective antioxidant in our diets that it's able to, in essence, sequester such a variety of free radicals, making what I believe Moringa to be one of the most powerful antioxidants in the world today.
Excellent. So the part that I was excited about when I did my research was the 36 anti-inflammatories. Don't you think that's amazing, that 36 of them?
Yes, this is an important factor with Moringa. And this is something that I personally means a lot to me, right? I suffer, being the large guy, as I'm sure many of us are, is all of a sudden we find our joints aching, right? And how many of us never remember our grandparents saying their joints aching until they were in their 80s, right? All of a sudden this is something that's much more common, right? And the reason is we are experiencing inflammation at rates we've never had before. And it's not just joints that can be inflamed, organs, tissues can also be inflamed. And this is very, very dangerous, right? Inflammation is, in essence, as some doctors refer to, the root of almost all diseases. And what is important is that with all of these anti-inflammatories, and I'm going to focus specifically on the joints because this to me is what's so important, is by having these anti-inflammatories, it's able to relieve a lot of the stress that we face in our joints, for example. And this is something that we feel. Because once our joints start getting stiff, all of a sudden we are not wanting to go out and walk. We are not wanting to go out to the gym. It's much more difficult to climb that flight of stairs. And all of a sudden we find ourselves sleeping on the couch that much more often, right? And what this is it's a horrible downward spiral in our lifestyle to now where we are getting our joint stiffness. We're not going to exercise, which then promotes more joint stiffness, and it's just a horrible cycle that needs to be broken somehow. And so by introducing all of these anti-inflammatories that Moringa has, we in essence are able to start to turn that spiral from going downwards to upwards, to give us that little bit of joint relief to where we are comfortable to go out and walk that extra mile or to push ourselves out a little bit harder at the gym.
But also, like, most disease is from inflammation in the body somewhere. So having 36 of them to target different areas is very important.
Critical. Yes, and so not to get too specific, right? There are many types of inflammation pathways, right? That come through different signalings in the body, and I won't go too in depth on this, but ultimately, not all of these can be stopped via the one single fix-all, right? And so having 36 different types allows for a variety of different inflammations to be quenched.
Okay, then everybody knows about omega-3, 6, and 9, but there's been a lot of research lately saying that some of the fish oils they're not as good as they should be for us. So getting it in plant form.
Very good. Yes. So this is something else that's of importance, right? So we've known that Moringa's got all of these vitamins, all of these minerals, right? We hear this all the time. But I'm also going to speak a little bit about what we call essential fatty acids, right? I'm always hesitant to say that in a lot of crowds. Let's not record this because it's going to have a lot of bloopers. All right. Omega-3, 6, and 9, these fatty acids are critical. These fatty lipids are critical for our bodies. And what the term essential means is that our bodies are not able to produce them, right? So the only way we can get them, the only way our bodies can use them is by intaking them. This wasn't a problem 50 years ago when we were eating a lot of fish, when we were eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, because in essence these aren't readily available in those. But what we are seeing is when we are void of these in our diets, we are seeing small changes that lead up to significant problems over time. And where we see the greatest results with the depletion of these fatty acids, fatty lipids, if you will, in our diet is in our cognitive function, right? And the reason is our neural cells, our brain cells, if you will, require these fatty acids to stay healthy, to stay alive. And so by not giving these cells the ammo that they need to correct themselves, to replenish themselves, to fix themselves, these cells are much quicker to die and decrease, which ultimately will decrease our cognitive abilities over time. And we see this not only in older people, but in younger generations as well, that these essential fatty acids are critical, are very critical for us to maintain a healthy mind and body.
But we hear the manufacturers up there wanting to give us 1% milk, 2%. Don't use the real margarine, or use margarine instead of butter, etc. How is that affecting our children? We're not getting...
How is that affecting our children? Well, that's a good question, right? So first of all, I guess I can speak a little bit. I am a father of 3, and a few days ago we realized we are having our 4th child that is now a girl. Happy soon-to-be father of 4. We all went in thinking it was a boy. My daughter, I have a boy, girl, and boy. My daughter was the lone one saying, no, it's going to be a girl. It's going to be a girl. We all went into the ultrasound together, and she got her treatment. So with children, right, what we are seeing is that children are exceptionally sensitive to nutritional, right? They need their proper nutrition at such a higher level, right? We are kind of seeing the effects of this with breastfeeding, right? So there are certain fatty acids. DHA is one that's commonly referred to. I don't know if mothers have heard of this, right? Where this fatty acid is critical for proper brain development in children, right? And so what happens is when we, in essence, try to manufacture things and assume that we have made the perfect solution that can rear our children, we are usually omitting a lot of important things, right? So we have these baby formulas for so long, and then all of a sudden somebody realized, wow, children need DHA. And if they live just off of it, the formulas, a lot of times they're not getting that, right? And so what it is ultimately when we try to take stuff from its natural source, we are adulterating it to the point where we are leaving out critical nutrients and a lot of times introducing things that are relatively, I don't want to even say relatively, that are harmful in lieu of those things. And the reason for this, as I mentioned before, is a lot of times food manufacturers will want to strip nutrients out of products to increase shelf life, to decrease satiation of the food, right? The last thing a food company wants to do is want you to, I think Lay's or some potato chip thing says, you can't eat just one. Well, they have spent tons of money and have hired very smart people to make sure of that, right? That's what they want. They don't want you to eat just one, right? And so some of the factors that they've done to do this, right, is they have removed fiber, right? About 100 years ago, the average person ate about 150 to 200 grams of fiber. All right, are there any dietitians here? Who knows what the average consumption of fiber is today?
10.
About 10. All right. That is a huge nutritional void. All right. And fiber is critical on numerous levels. Right? But one of those areas that's so critical is that it helps us properly metabolize the sugars we eat. So what we have done is we have decreased our fiber from about 200 grams to about 10 to 15 grams, and we have introduced sugars the opposite way. So not only are we removing the thing that helps us metabolize sugars properly, we are now introducing so many more sugars into our diet. And what this is doing is a lot of these sugars, fructose analogs, if you will, high fructose corn syrup, for example, contain fructose, which is metabolized in such a way in our livers, similar to alcohol, right? To the point of where people who, in essence, have such high sugar diets have livers that somewhat resemble those of alcoholics, right? And our bodies are starting to shut down that way. And we are, people that have this syndrome will start to get extended bellies, right? You're like, hey, he's never drank a beer in his life, but he's got a huge beer belly, right? It's because ultimately, by removing so much fiber, introducing so much sugar, the liver is just going in overdrive, constantly trying to metabolize that. And when we introduce all of these over-processed food to our children at such a young age, we are setting them up for failure as adults. A beautiful study came out not too long ago that showed about 400 calories more a day are consumed than just about 10 years ago. And of those 400 calories, about 320 of them come from sugar alone. And this to me is a global epidemic that is only on the rise, and it's something that is extremely grave. And so, when I joined Zija, this is one of the things that I took very seriously, is I had the opportunity to go work for many companies that make millions and billions of dollars trying to correct these diseases as a result of illness. And I realized if I really wanted to improve people's health, if I really took what I have spent the last 10 years studying seriously, I can't do that. Right? In the short term, it may relieve some of the symptoms, but ultimately, to really make a difference, I needed to take a step back, and I needed to re-educate the people on how to prevent these illnesses ultimately. And doing that, I think we can promote a much better global health than by trying to find a drug to cure a disease that ultimately we all know the cure is proper nutrition.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and then, so we're talking about the antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, the omegas. I think the proteins, all 20 amino acids.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's introduce. I speak a lot. I'm very long-winded, and my wife hates that. Bless her heart. Her only downfall that I have been able to find in about 11 years of marriage is poor taste in men. Let's see. Who knows what an amino acid does or what it is? We hear this a lot. Anyone?
It's a building block.
It's a building block. Excellent. Excellent. Good to hear. All right, so let's take a step back. Let's look at the cell, right? Or let's look at the human body, right? The human body is comprised of billions, trillions of cells that collectively work together to make meat, right? These cells are made up of proteins, right? So if we take that microscope a little bit deeper, we'll see inside this cell There's thousands, if not millions, of different proteins working together to make an organized, efficient cell. Whether it be a brain cell, a heart cell, a fingernail cell, etc. Right? These proteins work in such a manner that they make a very unique cell. Amino acids are what make the proteins. And so we talked a little bit, there's 20 amino acids. And so this is going to get complicated for me to try to explain. When we look at a protein is comprised of a chain of amino acids, similar to how a chain of letters make a word. Literally, you can almost imagine them just kind of stapled together. And that unique sequence of amino acids will make a unique protein. And so there are 20 amino acids that humans use. And a lot of times, the proteins we eat are voided of certain amino acids. So they're incomplete. And our body is not able to make them. The only way we can get them is through consuming them. We call these essential amino acids. These essential amino acids, if we don't get them, it's like us trying to write a book or make a word without using the letter E, for example, right? All of a sudden, the protein is saying, hey, I need the amino acid methionine, which is an amino acid, but there's none around. What do I do? Right? And all of a sudden, the cell becomes extremely unhappy. And it starts to send signals to our body of, we're starving. Do something different. We are not happy. And so what's so great about Moringa is it contains 20. Every single amino acid that our body needs is found in Moringa. More importantly, those 9 essential amino acids are also found in Moringa. And what this makes so spectacular is that when we consume this, here we are looking at a plant, and we are eating these amino acids, these proteins, if you will, we are getting a complete amino acid profile. So our cells, when they are saying, hey, I need that methionine, where's that methionine? It's right there for them to use. And so our cells are able to make those proteins that they want at that specific time in that specific place. And when that's the case, our body will send signals throughout this cell will send signals throughout the body saying, hey, good job. We're doing all right. We're getting everything we need. Here's a little bit more energy to go out and do what you need to do. All right? We don't need to eat anymore. We've got all the nutrition we eat. Good job. And all of a sudden, we're starting to realize we are wanting to behave how we want to behave. All right? Our body is in alignment with how we want to behave. We want to eat less and we want to be more active. And when we give that body the nutrition, whether it be the amino acids or the vitamins, that will start to tell our body to do that, which is a great feeling.
Okay. And so, we then have the vitamins and minerals thrown in there too. Exactly.
So this is one of the miracles of Moringa. One of the many miracles. Man, I am extremely long-winded. You'd never guessed. I am apologetic. Let me apologize. This is middle child syndrome. You give me the spotlight and I'll never sit down. So we were talking about vitamins, right?
Vitamins and
all right,
minerals.
we'll include you in this conversation as well. Right, there are many vitamins that our body requires. And vitamins are stuff, again, that our body can only get by consuming, largely. Right? Vitamins carry out specific functions. But what's more important is that vitamins, for them to be absorbed, a lot of times have to be coupled with or associated with a coupling factor. So for example, let's look at iron. Right? Here's this mineral that we all need that is essential for our blood to absorb oxygen. Right? And actually, when we look, a lot of people, in essence, it's not uncommon for women to have low iron. I don't want to raise hands, but it's usually about 10 to 20% of women have low iron levels. The reason, I don't want to say the reason that is, but what's the problem is a lot of us will then start to take a supplement of iron by itself. But iron by itself is not able to be readily absorbed into the body. Right? Iron is much more effectively absorbed when it's accompanied with vitamin C. Right? Those two enhance, when they are consumed together, enhance the absorption of iron significantly. And that's what is so great about Moringa, is it contains such a breadth, such a variety of vitamins and minerals that you feel that when you are getting your iron from Moringa, you know it's going to where it needs to be because it's also accompanied with the vitamin C that Moringa also has. And I think this is what makes Moringa so great, is it has all of these vitamins, and it's in their natural state. It's not some guy like me sitting in a lab saying, boom, here's a whole bunch of iron. This will get rid of that iron deficiency problem. No, right? I call it nature's multivitamin or God's multivitamin. Put in Moringa, knowing here's the amount of iron that's needed, and we're also giving it with it the vitamin C to make sure that that iron is properly absorbed.
Okay, so we have over 92 nutrients total in one tree. They're not synthetic. Zija hasn't made a concoction company, like product, where you throw this and that in. It all comes from the Moringa.
Exactly.
Okay. Who can't take it? I'm talking about just the plain nutrition. Who can't take it?
So when we look at the plain nutrition, right, I would put this as these categories, right? The Smart Mix and Super Mix. These are just basis of the Moringa plant. The Moringa leaves, fruit, and the seed, right? I don't think that anyone can take it. That were a lot of negatives in there. I'm glad. That now you know I went into science and not English. A lot of double negatives there. Anyone can take it. That's how one should phrase that.
Okay, but I have people call me all the time saying, you know what, my doctor, I'm on Coumadin. He says I can't take anything like that. He says, there's vitamin K in there.
And there is vitamin K in Moringa leaves. However, this is a food, right? Ultimately, what this is a powerful food that gives us the nutrition we need. And so it'd be the equivalent of saying, hey, my doctor has me on this vitamin A supplement. Wouldn't it be kind of weird for your doctor to say that, but then he gives you this supplement for vitamin A, and he says, no, I don't want you to eat any carrots. Right? It seems a little counterintuitive, right? And so I recommend the same thing with this, right? This is ultimately a food full a plant, if you will. That's all it is. It's not some pharmacy-grade concoction of anything. It is a nutritional supplement, a plant that has been harvested with the expectation of it, with the expectation of preserving those nutrients for you.
Now, there's a lot of people that have maybe intestinal problems. Is it okay if we start a little slower or add more water? Does it weaken it out? So many times we'll buy something, and if we add too much water, it becomes weak and it's not powerful. What the Moringa, is it like that?
Yeah, so this is what's another thing that Zija took very seriously. Man, am I boring you guys? Because I'm boring myself. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Maybe we can put that Zija Harlem Shake video on. I was impressed with my rain dance, weren't you guys? That was pretty good. So, all right. So, what Moringa is if you guys notice, if you open up the Moringa in the sachet, right, is you can kind of see fine ground Moringa in that, right? That is significant. We are not a juice company, right? Who's ever juiced something at their house before? Whoa, now I feel kind of guilty saying bad stuff about juice. All right. So when you juice something, right, you notice all that stuff left behind? Who knows what that is? Fiber, right? And a lot of stuff that's associated with that fiber, right? And so what we've done with this beautiful fruit that we once had, right? We'll call it an orange or whatever it was. We have separated the fiber. This is just an example. We separate a lot more when we juice it. Separate the fiber and leave behind the sugar and juice. Who's ever looked at the amount of sugar in orange juice? Who's ever looked at the amount of fiber in orange juice? Very good. All of a sudden, we've kind of made our own little soda. All right? So what Moringa has done is we have manufactured this, not juicing, right? We have ground up the Moringa plant to the point of where when you put it in your drink, it doesn't really mix up that well, right? Who's noticed that, right? At the bottom, at the end of the day, it will kind of settle, right? We are making sure that that Moringa plant is intact. And so then when you consume it, right, you are getting the whole plant. And we have gone, not me, this was before my time. This is where I have to tip my hat to Russ for knowing this, of making sure that the Moringa plant is intact. Making sure that you are getting everything that the Moringa tree has to offer.
And so if somebody has some type of intestinal problems, start slow. You know, we're not in a race. You know, put more water in it, sip on it all day long. You're going to get the nutrients that way. So we started off with the pure nutrition, and I remember Russ, and it was actually Ken, going, you know, all those bad energy drinks out there. We've got to do something about this. And they came out with the XM3 drink. Okay? Why is it? Yeah, you've got little bottles over there if you want to lift on up. Or I can play Van and you can come here. Why our energy drink versus what's on the market?
Yeah. So who has young children that seem to just have bounds of energy? I got 3. I'm assuming 4. The 4th, if history is a predictor of future, the 4th will have just uncontrollable amounts of energy, right? All right. Have we ever thought of why kids have so much energy and we always seem tired? You guys ever thought of that? I have. You know, after spending a long day of doing nothing but staring at a computer, and I come home and my kids seem to have been riding their bikes, jumping on a trampoline, doing all these things. I come home and they say, "Dad, let's go out and play." And for some reason, I'm exhausted. Right? Is this something that you guys face as well, or am I just showing my true colors as a horrible dad? All right, that's good. Good to know. So what we have done in formulating this energy is we have tried to harness what, in essence, kind of gives our children a lot of that energy and give it to adults. And what this means, right, is there are stimulants in there, right? There is caffeine, but there's also other things that are critical for our bodies to get, in essence, true energy. One of these things is desert tea, right? Desert tea has a unique ability to help remove a lot of the excess moisture that's built up in our airway and in our lungs, right? We live in a very polluted environment nowadays, and our body, to try to remove a lot of this pollution, will give moisture so that it doesn't go down into our lungs, and we are almost kind of in a constant congested state, all right? Our children don't have this as much, right? They haven't been exposed to it as long as we have. And so what XM3 does is that desert tea and that XM3, it will help remove a lot of that excess moisture to the point of where we are able to take a deep breath, get a full breath of oxygen, all right? Now, how many of you guys have swam to where you're underwater for a long time, all right? You don't think you're going to get to the top. And all of a sudden, you're feeling weak, and the top of the pool seems so far away, right? You're just out of energy, right? When you are limiting your body in oxygen, your body will just feel sluggish. Your body will feel weak. And by giving ourselves a breath of fresh air, of oxygen, we are able to, in essence, give ourselves energy from the way it's supposed to feel all the time. A breath of fresh air. Our cells are getting the oxygen it needs, and we are able to have sustained energy throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. And so it's not necessarily a drink for everybody. You know, we're not going to hand that to a young child without supervision, of course. But we do have different coaches that have used it instead of the Red Bulls, all those high energy drinks in competition with great success lately. And they're just giving them, you know, I'm talking about kids like this. They're giving them an ounce at a time, and but under supervision, everyone.
Yeah.
You just don't hand that bottle to the kids and let them, because it tastes so good they'll chug on it.
So this, I guess, is we don't want to promote this to children, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, you look at the energy drinks children are drinking today, and I think this would be an excellent alternative.
Yeah, under supervision. Mm-hmm. So the company, and once again, I remember Noreen and a few other ones were going, well, wouldn't it be great, though, if we had the energy with the pure nutrition together? And I love the XM Plus for that reason. So we can give it to people that are working out, but they're going to get more nutrition on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is literally just an XM3 and a Smart Mix combined. So it's giving you both energy and the nutrition you need. This is one of my favorite products.
Okay. Now you touched on a little earlier about the problems in North America. It's our weight. It's because of what we're eating, what we're putting in. So Zija came out with a weight management system. And this is really important, guys. It's a system. It's not just the parts. And so we start off with pure nutrition, and that can be for either the Smart Mix, the Super Mix. Some people use the XM Plus. I find that personally I see a lot more results with the Smart Mix or Super Mix on the weight loss part. But let's talk about the brand new product out, the AM capsule.
Yeah.
In which he had a big part in the formulation.
So this, to me, well, now that she said I had a big part in the formulation, I can't say it's a great product. Now I think as Pat said, it's a great product. The XMAM capsule, we redesigned this capsule to really address the nutritional void in today's diet. As I mentioned before, just in the last few years, we are increasing our caloric intake tremendously through sugars, and we are decreasing our amount of activity. This is a lethal combination, right? Over 2/3 of Americans struggle with their weight. This is crazy once you think about that. 2/3 of Americans are considered overweight. And there's nothing really changing in the trends to suggest that our food that is readily available to us is in any way going to lower that. And so with the XMAM capsule, we have designed this to really address 3 needs today. One is we wanted to satiate appetite. We wanted to bring that extra 400 calories down. 2, we wanted to increase our metabolic output. And I'll speak a little bit about these individually. And 3, we wanted to delay the conversion of glucose, or the absorption of glucose into our fat cells. And so the first one, satiate appetite. Right, we have put compounds in here that have shown strong scientific evidence that they are effective in lowering one's appetite. And this is amazing. Who was it? This is where my memory fails me. Somebody came to me just a few moments ago and talked about how they take the capsule and all of a sudden they get worried that they're not eating.
That's Kathy.
Kathy, there you are. Excellent, right? These are the stories that I love to hear. And it's nice. I don't want to say she's worried that she's not eating enough, but it's great, right? That in essence, we are getting control of this, of what food has been designed to do the exact opposite of, right? How many of you guys will eat something and about an hour later you feel full? That's a horrible feeling, isn't it? Right? You'll just sit and eat, and Pat can attest we've been on the road. I have done this a lot.
He's terrible.
I am. I'm terrible.
So when you take it, you're going to feel full quickly?
Well, you won't feel full quickly. Food will just not seem as appealing, right? In the sense of how many of us have a hard time getting our kids to sit down at a dinner table, right? They are just so full of energy, right? When your body is not starved for energy, when it's not needing energy, it's not going to tell you to go eat, right? If you've got so much energy that you can go out and run a couple miles, your body's saying, hey, we don't need any food. Let's go out and exercise, right? And so this is what this has been designed to do, is give us that energy to the point of where we don't feel food is not on the top of our mind all the time.
So the new ingredient, I really want everybody to understand this new ingredient that you put into it.
Yeah. So that's called citrus aurantium. Citrus aurantium has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And it's probably one of the most widely used botanicals for this process. Citrus aurantium comes from, in essence, certain orange pills, right? And it's been shown to kind of satiate appetite, but also increase metabolic performance, right? And what I mean by metabolic performance, anything that happens in the body, we consider a metabolic process. Every time the heart beats, that's a metabolic process, right? Consumes energy, requires calories to run that, so to speak. But citrus aurantium, along with caffeine, have been shown to increase our metabolic performance, specifically through the mind. And this is a great thing to do because how many of us would love to have a little bit more mental acuity throughout the day? That'd be a great thing, right? Mm-hmm. And the mind, being only 2% of our body weight, consumes 20% of our calories, right? So if we can just increase our metabolic performance in our mind, think a little harder, be a little bit more focused throughout the day, we are actually burning significantly more calories. And so citrus aurantium has been used in ancient India, ancient China, Brazil, for thousands of years because it has been such an effective tool in this.
Okay, so that's a good one. And then we go on to the PM pill, and I have to say that That's my favorite. You can take it before supper, before bed. Why does it work?
Yeah, so the XM PM pill, don't let the PM confuse you. It's not the equivalent of like your Advil PM, so to speak, that makes you feel drowsy, right? A lot of the weight that we put on today is due to stress, right? How many of us have a bad day at work, all of a sudden we are come home and we are in a face full of brownies? Just because I teach it doesn't mean I do it.
or an ice cream cookie cake.
That was not my fault. The food industry made me do it. So what the XMPM pill does is it's designed to help lower our stress, right? To help combat those sugar cravings, to help us put, in essence, kind of reset our minds, put us at peace. And that's a great capsule to have and help us battling those cravings. A lot of the cravings we have are stress-induced.
I love a couple of the ingredients in it. The ashwagandha.
Yeah, sea kelp. There are many. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, I think that it's one of the premier products, and especially when accompanied with the aim to be an effective way of helping people.
And I know, Noreen, you started taking it throughout the day and having even greater results. And there's a lot of people that can't take the AM capsule, okay? It's got caffeine in it, etc. So if you're on any kind of heart medication at all, or if you're on mood-altering drugs, it says it right on the label, do not take. Because you shouldn't be taking any extra caffeine if you have heart problems, etc. And so you can take the PM instead during the daytime. And it'll curb the appetite totally. All right. Then I think the most important component is having the premium tea at nighttime.
Yeah. So premium tea is designed as a detoxifying tea. And what that means is it helps remove a lot of the excess waste that has been built up in our bodies over time. Right? So I'm going to speak at a medical standpoint here, and so a lot of you may want to plug your ears, right? But when we, in essence, have our colon full of stuff that it doesn't want to be in there, our body will actually tell itself to eat, to try to push it through. The problem is we are eating such an over-processed diet that is just, in essence, blocking it up that much more. And so it's this horrible, horrible catch-22 to our body saying, eat, I need to get this out. I need to detoxify, so to speak. We eat, but we just add more fuel to that fire. And so the premium tea is designed to help us kind of reset that, to kind of put us on the straight path to not giving in to that, to helping us cleanse it so that all of a sudden we are not using food as a way of pushing over-processed food through. And I think it's a critical component of the weight management system.
But it's also good for anybody, all right? We're all eating garbage food at times, so I think we all need to get the toxins out of our body. So even people that aren't trying to lose weight, doing it on a weekly basis, is good. Can you overdo it?
Well, I think you can overdo anything, right? So you always want to be careful, but if you're following the suggested juice, I think you should be fine.
Excellent, excellent. For those of you that are guests and have never tried it, I highly recommend you start a little weaker. The first experience we want good.
Yeah.
It is quite a powerful tool. Okay. All right. Then one of the newest products that we got in that can be used for the weight management, or it can be used for our athletes, or it can be just a great product, is our Prime 90. What is different? Like, this has got proteins, it's got fibers, it's got everything, but what's different with that protein shake versus what I can buy at a gym or one of those other stores?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, right? And this is probably something a lot of you get when you are, in essence, talking about this product. Before I begin, it's a meal replacement shake. And one of the critical factors of a meal replacement shake is it needs to have protein in it. Right? There are three ways that our bodies can get energy, three sources of our body's energy. Carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Of those three, protein gives us the feeling of being full the most. Right? So if I use a meal replacement shake, I want my body to feel like it just ate a meal. So it has to have protein in it. So this has got a substantial amount of protein in it. But what is critical what separates this meal replacement shake apart from all the others is the Moringa base. All right. As I mentioned before, a lot of components need what would be called a cofactor to be properly absorbed and metabolized, right? As I mentioned before with iron and vitamin C. Protein requires an assortment of B vitamins, specifically vitamin B12, to be properly absorbed and metabolized in our body, right? So as we mentioned before, protein is comprised of amino acids, right? So we put the complete spectrum of amino acids in here. Our body will take that protein, break it down into its individual amino acids, and then reassemble it again into the proteins that our body needs. And to do that, vitamins and nutrients are required to do so. And so by accompanying this protein with Moringa oleifera, we are able to give our body the ammunition it needs to break down that protein and reassemble it into what our cells need at that specific time, making it the most effective protein meal replacement shake on the market today, I believe.
But I can go into one of those stores and I can find one that says it has 50 grams of protein. Why wouldn't I want more protein than just 20?
Yeah. So this is something, right? We live in a society where we always think more is better, right? And that is not the case, right? A lot of times when we give ourselves too much of anything, we start to have adverse effects. Now, I'm starting to bald. Maybe starting is not the right word to choose. But if we actually eat too much vitamin A, it actually promotes male pattern baldness, right? It's a fat-soluble vitamin that our bodies will just keep up and store and store and store and store, and it will start to lead to a little bit of baldness. I've taken this into account, and I've removed carrots and all type of vitamin A from my diet. Now, ultimately, I think my grandpa's more to blame for this one. But what it is right, it was when we give our bodies too much of something, as I mentioned before, it'll break it down into its essential amino acids. These amino acids all have what we call a nitrogen group on them. And that just sounds like a really technical term. But nitrogen is very, very difficult and very, very hard for our livers and our kidneys to rid of. So when we got too much excess nitrogen in our body, our kidneys and our livers actually start working in very much an overdrive, right? And this is just can do ramifications on our body that are very detrimental, especially over time. And so Zija has made note of this, right? It's easy to always do 1 gram more than your competitor and say, now we've got more. But what Zija is able to do is we knew this, and we made a shake that is proportionate to the amount of protein one should be having in a meal. All right, we're not looking for the most, we're looking for the best solution.
Mm-hmm. And what about for kids? Can we start them off in the morning with it, or?
Yeah, with all my children, I do, and they love it. And so, I think it's an excellent thing for our children. A lot of times I won't necessarily do it as a replacement for meals, but I'll do it, as they're walking out to the bus stop after they just had a breakfast, they'll be drinking this shake as well.
Okay. And a lot of people are using it to make their smoothies with, so adding all the different fruits and stuff with it. And then the Crabbles, if you've heard about them and their ice cream, it's pretty phenomenal tasting. So there's, a wide variety, and as you said, I'm finding right now I have a lot of senior homes involved now, and they're able to give it to the seniors and getting the proper nutrition and the proteins into their diet versus some of the Ensures or things, etc., with the chemicals in them. And the nursing homes are seeing tremendous success with this. Because it's got a lot of moringa in it, doesn't it?
It does. It has significant Smart Mix Plus type amount of moringa in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have that line of products. The last part is the skincare. And I don't know why we don't talk about the skincare as much as we should, because I think that is a sleeping giant for Zija. Here we are, we've just taken all this pure nutrition and put it into our bodies. And then we went to the local drugstore or around my place, Walmart, and we're buying all that chemical stuff, putting it onto our skins, and it's going back down into our organs. So you get that vicious cycle.
Exactly.
This is pure. There's nothing in that you can't put on your skin.
Yeah, and so this is, again, moringa has been used for a variety of functions. for thousands of years. And actually, I would say the most common function is that of skin treatment in various sources. And so we have utilized, I would say, the best minds in skincare to create a Moringa-based skincare product to help us, in essence, kind of reverse a lot of those signs that we see with aging. Skin blots, these types of things. Scarring, we've heard tremendous success with. A variety of things, and have seen tremendous results with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if it was in India that I said it last time, Noreen, about the eye serum. Was it in India, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so Noreen tried it out. Did it work?
Yes, Pat, it did.
She did. So when I was here the last time, I was talking about it. I sell a lot of the eye serum to truckers. And you gotta picture this. Here's this big burly trucker with this little, okay, gotta show. Because I can just imagine it every time I sell one. So this is our eye serum. Can you imagine this big burly trucker going down the road? I can just see it. But you know what this does? Not only does it help the wrinkles and the bags under our eyes that we need at my age, but it opens up your eyes, and it just makes them brighter.
Yeah,
Why?
makes them feel awake.
Why does it do that?
Yeah, well, right, the eye is very much a delicate organ, right? It's a fast healing organ. It's extremely fragile, right? And it gets tired, right? It gets exhausted, right? And so by giving the eye a lot of kind of stimulus, who's kind of had menthol before, right? Breathe that, and all of a sudden you just feel a little bit more awake, right? Your eyes feel a little bit better, right? This has the same type of effect, right? It kind of is a breath of fresh air for your eyes, so to speak, to where your eyes are able then to function a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. And then I think we sell a tremendous amount of the oil, okay, for skin ailments, open wounds. You know, we use this extensively on the animals. You know, I'd rather use this than some of the drugs on the that are on the market that they want us to give the horses. And the wounds heal up so quickly. And I've been really pleased with this. We also see things like eczema, psoriasis, many different things. Now, I look at the skincare line and I think of the teenagers. Would I rather they went and bought the chemical stuff to put on their face or use this all-natural one? And we're seeing such tremendous results with the kids. So that's like our whole skincare line. I have a piece of paper here. I'm going to just get some testimonials here first. And then I think we'll be open for question and answer for 10, 15 minutes if you'd like. So Tasha, how about Toby, Richard, and Cynthia Weir? Yeah, that's you. I'll get you guys to come up to the front, and I'd like you to do a testimonial for me. Okay, Tasha, go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. What an incredible event, right? Wow. I came into this company because of health issues that I was experiencing. I went from being a swimmer and a runner, so yes, I know what it's like to keep swimming. You're like, where's the end? Totally understand. And got to the point that I was so sick when I was 26 years old. On my very best days, I could barely stand up and I could barely walk. And on my worst days, I was teaching from a wheelchair all day, laying on the couch all evening, and my husband would have to carry me upstairs to go to bed at night. I had seen over 10 specialists, including doctors at IU Med, and couldn't find any answers. Tried the poke, prod, and prescribe method, supplements, you name it, and was just coping with life. My aunt and uncle in Greensburg, Kentucky called to share this with me, and I listened out of respect and didn't think it would do anything. But I had been monitoring many symptoms and realized within 24 hours of consumption of incredible nutrition, my heart rate had improved. Within a week, I no longer showed asthmatic symptoms. Within 2 weeks, I was jogging. And a little over a year later, I competed in a half Ironman, which is a 70-plus mile swim, bike, run race. After that race, I finally got a diagnosis because of incredible resources in this company. Dr. Ben Bowers Found that I had parasites in my intestines, a couple different types of parasites in my bloodstream, staph infection, leaky gut syndrome. I was only absorbing 30% nutrition as well as many other things. Tell me how I was able to do a half Ironman. And because of the opportunity, my husband was just teasing me about a month ago. He said, you know, a few years ago it was a wheelchair that got you around on your worst days. Now it's the wheels on a Mercedes-Benz paid for by Zija International.
Thank you. Toby.
I was introduced to Zija by a good friend of mine. I think it was May 2011. I'd kind of been looking for something because I'd been back in the gym for a little while and hadn't been able to take off any weight. My elbow was hurting, hands and feet were hurting. I was like, what the heck, I'll try it. About 2 weeks into it, all my aches and pains were gone. I noticed some skin issues started to clear up. And then my allergy started to improve. I was like, well, I've been taking 2 24-hour tablets a day for, since I was a teenager, getting shots since I was a little kid. I haven't taken any allergy meds in 16 months at all.
Good.
I started the weight management systems. Let's see what this will do, and I dropped 32 pounds in 3 months. Then I came across some skin issues I had. I had 25 needles poked in each hand last June. Within a month, it was already coming back. So I'm not going to do this again. So I started doubling up on my super mix, well, smart mix at the time, and applying the Zija oil. It has not come back.
Good. That's awesome.
My favorite part of the story pertains to my wife. We've been trying for a long time to get pregnant. Finally did in June of 2011, and quickly had a miscarriage. We started her on the smart mix because of the results that I had right after that, and she actually developed a little bit of a rash. So we got in touch with Uncle Russ and Dr. Bowers, talked to her, and determined the problem pretty quickly, put her on a regimen for 3 months, everything cleared up, and just a few months later she was pregnant, and we welcomed our little girl into the world in December of last year. Got 4 months old.
My story started 2 years ago this month. I bought a house a block and a half down the street because I was unable to go up and down stairs. This house had a bedroom and a bathroom on the first floor. So in October of 2011, my back went out on me. And my daughter, this Dawn Fusion, stuck a box of Smart Mix in my face and said, Dad, I want you to take this. I mean, take it. So in 3 days, my back would hurt. So I thought, wow, I'm going to try the weight loss. Did the weight loss for maybe 2 8-day trial packs, and was losing. And my goal was to lose 75 pounds by August because I host our family reunion. I actually lost 92 pounds in 9 months.
Oh my God.
3 weeks ago, I had surgery on my back for melanoma. Tasha told me, whatever you do, do not use Zija oil until you get the stitches out. I didn't. I went in 2 weeks later, my stitches were grown over just from drinking Moringa.
Wow.
So I had already got them out a week early. And I was also diagnosed with fibromyalgia 2 years ago. I no longer have any problems with my knees, no arthritis, and everything's cool.
I stand up here with these people and hear these stories, and I think, well, nobody wants to hear mine because mine's not really spectacular. I'll tell you though, I think about how many people are just like me, getting older, aches and pains. Worked in a flower shop for 25 years, and now I'm a surgical nurse. And my hands, you can ask my cousin back there, my hands were really, really, really getting bad. I have a crap back. I've had 1 surgery. And I work with these gentlemen, day in and day out. And when he did my surgery, he says, You got a lot of arthritis back there, Cindy. You're going to have a fusion one of these days. Well, I don't know if there's anyone in here that's had posterior back lumbar fusion, but I'm not doing it unless I'm in a wheelchair, because I just don't want to do that. So anyway, I have all these aches and pains and have this arthritis in my hand, little osteophytes and everything. And my friend Michelle, she says, I think you ought to try this. And I said, well, I don't want to try it if it tastes like crap. I won't drink it. I won't be compliant. I know myself. And look at all of you sitting there doing this. It's exactly the same thing. So anyway, she shakes it up. She's going to take me to a meeting at Ann's house. And she shakes it up. She goes, drink this. And I drank it, and it didn't taste that bad. So okay, I'll sign up. And I noticed within 3 days, I didn't have to roll out of bed. You know, I was losing that pain. And then, you know, a month or so, I'm looking at my hands and I'm thinking, they're not that bad. They're better than they were. So I took this finger right here, my ring finger, my wedding ring is a size 5.5. I couldn't get my mother's size 9 pearl ring on my finger. I could only get it about this far. Okay, that's about all the farther I could get it on. And so anyway, I tried the ring, my mom's ring, and it wouldn't go on. But after 2.5 months drinking Zija, on and off, and I'm thinking to myself, if that's doing that to my hands, it's got to be helping my back. You know, I'm not having any pain. If I don't drink it for 48 hours, I know it. But anyway, and then my other thing is my daughter has severe anemia. She's had several autoimmune things, and she's always made fun of me and my joy juice. You know, roll her eyes. Oh no, mom's got her voodoo stuff out again, you know, things like this. So anyway, she calls me and she tells me she's so anemic that they've taken her off of all of her supplements because she's obviously got some malabsorption problem going on. And like you said, who knows what she wasn't getting. But anyway, I told her, I said, Megan Kay, you get that Zija out that I sent you. And I said, you start drinking it. I said, I don't care if you have diarrhea the first time. You drink it. So anyway, so she started drinking her Zija. And I said, start out with a half thing. I don't care. Start out with a half thing. And she says, well, they're thinking about giving me a transfusion because she was so anemic. And so anyway, and she's had alopecia. She has had asthma. She had all these autoimmune things going on. But anyway, 6 weeks later, she goes, blood drawn, everything is in normal parameters. The iron it's at the lower level, but still within normal parameters. And she went, and she's 5'6.5", 5'7". She was down to 97 pounds, people. But when she went back, she weighed 107 pounds. So. Good.
Who in this room has lost weight on our weight management program? Okay. Shout out some numbers. How much?
40.
40 pounds?
Over 60.
Over 60 pounds. Who else? 55? 65, Melanie?
45.
45?
60.
60? This is the real deal, guys. Are you gaining your weight back? Why aren't you gaining the weight back? Huh?
I eat good, too.
And you eat good. Okay. When you give your body this type of nutrition, are you as hungry? Are you wanting to go out and snack and eat all the junk food? No, you aren't. You crave good food. One of my people in Oklahoma, Chad Williams, and a lot of you have met Chad, he's down now almost 200 pounds. 200 pounds. We're talking about a gentleman that ate out 3 meals a day, and he not only ate his meals, he ate most of his family's. And he is down this much weight, and he actually has now, in the last month, a physical trainer. He never believed in sweating. But he wanted to do this exercise now. He felt better. Now, do we still have some weight to lose? Yes, probably another 60 pounds. But he's on his road to recovery. And at 37 years of age, he's going to live now. When we met him, it was disastrous. It was 475 pounds. Okay? We can change people's lives. And so what I want to do before I bring Josh up, I just quickly want to tell you about, for the guests here, there's a business opportunity. You can just be a customer, whatever you want. But when you start feeling good, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to tell people about it. So why not at least get your product paid for? We have a couple of programs, Team 250 programs. One of them for distributors where they can introduce a couple of people, 1 or 2 people a month, and they get their product. But they just came out with preferred customers can also get their product paid for by just referring. So whoever invited you, please make sure that you get those questions answered, because nobody should have to ever pay for this product. Because you're going to tell people, when you feel good, you will tell people. And it's a great referral business. So what I would like to do right now is bring Josh back up and utilize this right now. So ask us questions, everything. Then we'll take a couple of minute break for those of you that would like, the guests here that would like to try the product that haven't had a chance. And then maybe we can do a little bit of business training for those of you that are interested. We can talk about the business part of it. But I really wanted to go in depth on the product since we had Josh here, so that's why this meeting is quite product orientated.
I am a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain the compensation plan to him.
This is what's so great. I have no idea about the business side. I actually looked at it as a blessing, right? And I can just focus on the products. And, no joke, I've been here for 9 months, 9+ months, and as we've been driving around, I was like, talk about the compensation.
And you didn't quite get it?
No.
So any questions at all? Please, not specific to ailments, because we're not here talking about this curing anybody, right? But just, about the moringa tree, etc. Or yes?
Any chance you might get like a body lotion?
And we are always, right? This is something that is so great about the executive team at Zija, is in essence, they kind of throw me in a lab and throw away the key and have me dig things out. And so I'm always looking at ideas for that sort. And body lotion is something I hear frequently. And so that is at the top of my queue list.
Awesome. I saw one. Tasha.
Everything that you know about Moringa oleifera, what is the most incredible thing about this botanical?
Wow, that's like asking somebody what your favorite color is. If you don't already know, you start to overthink it. I would probably say what to me is most miraculous about this plant is that it has both water and fat-soluble vitamins. Right? This is actually really amazing. Scientists, we've been working hard quite some time to try to figure out how to do this in a test tube. We have no idea, right? But here's this botanical that does it. It has its vitamin A, which is fat soluble, right, which our bodies need. It also has vitamin C, which is water soluble, right? And so I think it's just this amazing multivitamin that is able to have these diverse vitamins in the same botanical at the same time, which just to me kind of shows that this plant was created to address a lot of these nutritional voids that we have today.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
I'm just wondering if they might make XM Plus out of the Supermix.
She wanted to know if we're going to do the XM Plus out of the Supermix.
Another $9.
All right. So I got body lotion, I got XM Plus Supermix. What's the verdict here? I like that idea.
Sunscreen. Is there anything for the protection from too much sun?
I want you guys to know that all of these things we have. This is no joke, right? A lot of times you'll hear people that will just say stuff to pass the time. But we were in a product development meeting not too long ago where all of these things were being discussed.
Great.
Yes?
workout shampoo?
I can tell you that we are discussing a lot. But corporate would have there's that shot collar again.
Okay, yes.
I have a question for you. What direction would you send somebody who has been on Zija since September and has increased from the Smart Mix to the Super Mix to taking the XM pills to the T and still has no results with weight loss?
Yeah, so this is something that, we will hear occasionally. And I think something that needs to be addressed here is a lot of times we will assume that weight gain is the cause of our problems, when in actuality, we are learning more and more it's the opposite, right? Our body manifesting itself through being overweight, if you will, a lot of times is a case that something else is going wrong inside, right? And so by addressing these nutritional voids, who knows how big these voids are with us, right? It takes time. And this is what I think is so great about Zija, is we are not a 90-day challenge company. We have the motto of life unlimited. It's not 90 days unlimited, it's life unlimited. We are here to help people regain their lives back and have a lifestyle change, both financially and with these products. And so, and also speaking to that, there is no ideal weight, so to speak, right? For each person, it's different. And, you look at some of these professional athletes, and we know they're exercising like crazy. We know they have personal trainers, but a lot of them actually look kind of what we consider overweight, but we know they are extremely healthy. So different body types have different ideal weights. And that's something that we just need to recognize. But ultimately, I'd say by addressing who knows how big these voids are, before a lot of times when we start to see significant weight loss.
And sometimes I find when I'm working with people on their weight, they don't always tell me what they're really eating. and when I finally get them to write down everything, and they just actually don't realize themselves what they're eating, sometimes that is really bad for them. And that's causing them to stop losing weight.
And this is something I think is so great. And this is something that I really wanted to push when I came on, because of that fact, right? So how many of you guys heard of that Zija Fit, right, where you can go on and you can log in what you're eating each day, and it will kind of give you this way of helping you to measure of like, these are how many calories you should be eating, right? You need to be exercising a little bit more because we are in such a routine in our daily lives, we don't realize actually how little we are exercising and how much we are eating. And so having that type of food journal and exercise log, I think is critical and an important part of helping us lose weight.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. And now this is for, the guests that are in the room. If you become a preferred customer or distributor, we have a back office. And in that back office, it has a button you can click and you put all your measurements in. You can put before pictures in. And actually, they're going to have prizes for people that do this and have weight loss stories. And you know what? You're going to have a chat room in there where, just like your friend, I'm having troubles, do you have any suggestions? And you're going to be able to ask questions and get answers with the rest of Zija Land because somebody might have an answer for you. Okay? Mm-hmm.
Am I hearing then you say that possibly the reason the weight loss is not coming off at present is because there are other things going on in your body and it's taking care of those other things that are more important maybe even than the weight loss at this time?
Yeah, a lot of times the weight gain is a manifestation of something not being the way it should be inside, right? And so this is something that a lot of times through proper nutrition and these types of things can help address first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I have a question in regards to the Super Mix and the Smart Mix. They're roughly the same amount of weight.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that the Super Mix is twice the nutrients
Okay,
than the Smart Mix?
I want to repeat that for anybody that can't hear it. He's talking about the weight on the Smart Mix and the Super Mix,
Mm-hmm.
but the Super Mix is supposed to be so much more Moringa than the Smart Mix.
It's supposed to be twice the amount.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we have done, right, and if we look at the Moringa, or the Super Mix, excuse me, is we have used a kind of flavoring technology, so to speak, advanced flavoring, to where we are in essence able to increase the moringa without and taking away some of the flavoring components, if that makes sense. But by us taking down some of the flavoring, we're then able to then increase that with moringa.
But there is that much more.
Yeah.
Who's had a benefit from increasing from the smart mix to the super mix? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now.
I have someone that's taking the smart mix and she's breaking out up here on her shoulder and neck area. So
Pat's much more skilled with that than I'm the scientist guy.
Okay. Sometimes people will detox in different ways. You know, the toxins out of your body have to come out somewhere. Now, what I suggest for people that are getting rashes or headaches maybe is to add more water. So most North Americans, we're not hydrated enough. And so I understand I don't know what the directions say. I don't read directions that well. But it says something like 12 ounces of water. Yeah. I always get people to add a lot of water, okay? And we like to make it the night before to hydrate it even better. And get her to do that. And sometimes to slow down the detox, you might want to just sip on it all day long just till that, all the toxins come out of the body. But mostly it's hydration. It's really important.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is yours not given to making a fruit bar or something?
Didn't we kind of talk about that this weekend?
Yes, it's coming up with products. Man, you guys are really taxing me here.
Job security.
Job security.
Yes, job security, sleep insecurity. But yes, these are all things that I think are excellent, and it's just a matter of, right, at Zija we take our products very seriously, right? And to do this, we really want to have a proper, or I guess a product pipeline, so to speak, to where we vet these things scrupulously to make sure by the time it gets into your hands, we are confident in saying this is a market leader and its nutritional properties. And so, yes, a lot of these things are very much being considered, but we want to make sure when we release something that we are confident that it's the best out there.
I think I heard you say last week on that conference call that you were talking about, I think it was an orange or something, or food that when you open it, you put it in the refrigerator, it starts to degrade right away.
Yeah.
Right. Does it make sense then to open Zija, mix it the night before, and let it sit out all night?
Yeah, so this is
not out at night.
Yeah, so this is something, right? This is, for example, different vitamins have what we call half-lives, meaning in certain conditions they will degrade. And Zija has recognized this. This is what separates our Moringa from others, is we've recognized this. So we've gone about to make sure during the certain steps that the Moringa is protected, right? To the point of where by the time you drink it, we are confident that it is the most nutritious Moringa possible at that point. And so what we, as you talked about, with mixing it the night before, ultimately these have, I would say, minute changes in the vitamins of that, right? Very significant. But what we have made sure of is that during from farm to the time it goes into the sachet to the time that you drink it, right? It hasn't gone under UV lights, which really speed up the half-life or the degradation of these things. That it's, as it's being harvested with the, when it's in its moisture-rich state, when it's being harvested, that it's not exposed to excess air and sunlight. These types of things really degrade a lot of these nutrients quickly.
And one of the things Russ says is, we're going to put that in the fridge. It's not going to be on the counter, number one. And we must drink it within a 24-hour period. Okay? And then it's very little, degrade.
Why not just drink it right away?
That's what I do. But
a lot of people do. But,
drink it.
Yeah.
It's a Dr. Ben thing, and he's just found that...
yeah, and it's to each their own with that, right? So I'll mix up and drink it right away. Mm-hmm. Right? I actually drink mine right after dinner to help curb my horrible, horrible sweet tooth.
That's good. Are you writing a book? Or do you have a book?
Do I have a book? I love reading, and I am actually in the process of writing a book. That is, you guys are the first to know that. So, and the book is being dedicated to, in essence, Moringa. And so, several chapters into it, I don't want to say it's well written. Hopefully after several people edit it, it will be. But yes, I can't give a timeline of when we expect that, but that's in essence what my weekends are being dedicated to.
When he's not on the road with us.
Yeah.
Could you explain a little bit more the difference between our Moringa and the Moringa you just see, the whole stores?
Yeah, so there are several key differences. One key difference is right, we use, in essence, the most nutritious parts of the plant. Right, we use the leaf, the fruit, and the seed cake. Right? And so when we see the leaf, it has some vitamin C in it. But we actually see that the seed cake has significantly more vitamin C, for example, right? And so we are able to get this proprietary blend of these together to maximize the nutrition that is needed. That's one key difference, right? We are using the Moringa tree, not just the Moringa leaf. The second is we have found the most nutritious farms possible. There was an excellent dissertation that was written from a prominent university, who's somebody who's working on their master's thesis, who dedicated it to Moringa and identified that depending on where Moringa is grown, or how it's grown, it differs significantly in its nutritional composition. And so we have scoured several farms to identify those that are the most nutritious. And we have, in essence, securitized those farms so that Zija is really the only one that is able to use them. Third is we have gone through the supply chain of Moringa to make sure as Moringa goes from that life cycle from farm to mouth, it is preserving that nutritional stuff. The nutritional stuff. The nutritional profile. Yeah, that's when the editors come in and writing that book. Moringa and stuff. So, right, we have avoided the ultraviolet lights. We've avoided excess exposure to air. We've gone through the more proper ways of cleaning the Moringa. We have milled it in a proper way that helps preserve those fiber and those other nutrients that are often stripped during the manufacturing process. Does that help answer the question?
So this is as compared to other products other than Zija?
Zija compared to others, I guess.
Yeah. How do you know the sources of those other products?
How do we know the
somebody
sources?
asked me about this the other day.
Yeah, well, we don't know where they get them.
Are, so I can't comment on that.
We don't know what the sources are, but I can say we have searched several farms, several farms from different continents even. And then the ones that we have analyzed to be the most nutritious, we have then, in essence, kind of monopolized those to where Zija only gets them.
And what's going into the product as well? Or what?
Into our products? Yes.
No, into the other products.
So we don't, what they use, but we know they're not using our farms.
Most of them are just leaf, is what we see on the internet, okay? And what we have done is I bought product, from on the internet, and when you get it, it's a lot different. And you got to look at how much they put in a capsule of just the leaf. They'd have to eat a whole bottle of these capsules, and they still won't get what we have. So I don't even compare what's on the market to what we have. Yeah.
So and I am in the process of doing some studies with this right now, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, we can't publish who they are, but we are in the process of doing this to where we can show, scientifically look at this vitamin profile to a leading competitor, for example. And I am extremely, extremely confident in the data showing how significantly superior Zija's Moringa is to others.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
With the Super Mix and the Smart Mix, people that have a lot of health issues, do you recommend starting them on the Smart Mix and then moving them to the Super Mix, or do you recommend starting them on the Super Mix with all the health challenges that they have, and then maybe cutting it back like a third, or
Pat, you're best with this. Any type of practical application.
I still firmly believe in, if somebody's got a health challenge, to start them on the Smart Mix. And that's just my personal preference. Noreen, you might have a, if somebody is really compromised, if we put in too strong a Moringa, they could detox too much, and you've lost them. I had one client take it and Cynthia said jokingly her daughter's going to have to go to the bathroom too much. And this person called me up because they went to the bathroom. They go, oh, I've got to be allergic to it. I went to the bathroom too much today. They probably needed to, right? Okay? So why not start with the Smart Mix, add lots of water to somebody that's compromising their health, and just get them to sip on it all day long. Get them a good experience. And then next month, let's put them on, if they're ready for it, the Super Mix. All right? Each situation is a little different, guys. We're not all made the same. So this is where customer service, okay? I can't stress this enough, guys. Customer service is one of the most important part of our business, is making sure people are getting along with the product, calling them on a weekly basis when they're new to it, and make sure that they're taking it correctly.
Okay, I have a question about the XM/AM capsules and the controversy with the DMAA that it's been kind of in the news and whatnot, and obviously part of the reason I believe why it's been reformulated. And of course, there's two different kinds. One synthetic, one, the one on our box is geranium. But obviously I've got a bunch of the old stuff, and just kind of talk on that point.
Yeah. So with the controversy with DMAA, right? That is one of the reasons we did want to reformulate, right? Zija is a growing business, and we wanted to be able to take this product into new markets, right? And by reformulating in response to not only the nutritional needs that are needed today, but also, in essence, to allow this product to expand internationally, we felt it as a win-win. And so the DMAA, right, it is the controversy surrounding that, right? But in essence, there is nothing that is illegal or anything of that sort. I don't know how to best answer. What was your question?
Well, I guess I was just kind of, obviously reformulated just because of, I expected just to make sure that it was, everyone knew everything was safe and whatever.
Yeah, everything is safe, right? Thousands and thousands of people have used it. The question kind of comes, the controversy with DMAA surrounds more along the lines of its source, right? Yeah. People have been using it synthetically, and the question is it found naturally, right? And in the sense that it's found in some geranium plants, but at what level? Is it a significant level for it to be considered a natural product? And that is ultimately the controversy surrounding DMAA, not necessarily its safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's more we want our product to go around the world, right? And so we're taking a proactive.
Yeah, right? Which I respect very much. I had just had someone, basically comment that they had seen the product on the list, and I said, well, we are reformulating. I didn't know, and I said, we are using a natural source versus
it is
whatever. But and then I said, if you go and look at that list again, we are now scratched off.
Exactly. Excellent way. Well done.
Thank you.
Recommended daily allowance of your vitamins.
Yes. I get this a lot. And if you guys notice, I usually don't respond when I get those emails. Right?
She asked about, you hear doctors say you have to have so much vitamin A, so much everything. Do we have it enough in our product?
Yes. So this is something that I guess is the best way to answer this, right? I don't want to give the exact amount out because now all of a sudden we're starting to reveal what our proprietary formula is, right? And under law, we don't have to, right? So we kind of hold that tight to our sleeves for that reason. However, with respect to that, I guess, does anyone know how these FDA standards came into place? This is actually kind of a funny story. Anyone know? They'll take 100 people who they consider healthy, and they'll say, how much vitamin A do you eat a day? Right? And then they kind of say, this is what we need. Right? There is really very little scientific evidence to suggest exactly how much we need. Right? And who knows if these people are healthy or not, right? They'll just kind of take a snapshot of people who they think look healthy and ask, how much of this do you need? How much of this do you need? And those are the guidelines of how we set that. And for us, we feel that it's, in essence, irrelevant for the most part, right? Countries differ dramatically on what they recommend. And as mentioned before, we really don't even know how much we are getting with a lot of our orange juices, these types of things, because what they put on the label, and by the time it gets to our mouth, who knows what it's gone through. And so, so I usually, that's a difficult question to really answer for me. So.
Just so the flip side of that is, the great thing is it's a natural plant that if you don't need that much vitamin C that day, then it just flushes out.
Exactly, right? This is what's so great about it is we're not, in essence, bombarding the body with so much of this synthetic stuff to where the body doesn't know what to do with it, right? It's in the proportions of what I believe came in nature's multivitamin for what we need for our daily allowance.
It's just, what we have to learn as distributors, all we have is an organic whole food, okay? And that's what we got to keep stressing to everybody. It's that simple. It's just like going to the grocery store and actually getting food that was good for us off the shelf. All right? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, for me, whenever I get asked those questions, we've been, as Americans, we've been taught to just break everything down in its parts all the time, and you got to actually think of it as a whole. And you can't, if you get asked those questions, well, how much of this and that? And it's like, well, what fruits and vegetables do you eat? How much vitamin C is in that orange you ate? How much, and all that kind of stuff. You just have to equate it that way, rather than trying to break it down. And
I got a question. It's more along the line of the business.
I'm going to sit back here and learn as well.
I've been reading a lot about multi-level marketing companies, and Zija's been in business since when?
2006.
So, I mean, it's kind of past that phase of failure, I guess, where I guess within 2 years. My question is, what assurance do we have that the integrity of the product and the process will remain intact once the originators are gone? I mean, at some point, Russ Bianchi leaves. You got new guys coming in.
He's the formulator of the original product, and he works with Josh on a daily basis. He does not own Zija.
Right.
So, it's got nothing to do with Russ.
I think that it can probably be best answered by the founder, Ken Brailsford, right? This is a guy who's started several companies that are still in existence today.
Yeah.
Right? Several $1 million companies that are still in existence, right? This man is of extremely high integrity, right? And he recognizes how sacred of a product he has right now. And I don't think he's willing to do anything to adulterate that. In the sense of 40, 50 years down the road, right? It is a family-owned and operated company. And this is something that's extremely important to me because there's no shareholders that are ultimately looking for the bottom line, right? This company is being passed down in large part to Ken's children.
Who work in the office.
And likewise, will not be willing to sacrifice their children's legacy for a quick dollar.
Yeah. This is follow up. He started Herbalife, is that correct?
No.
Nature's
Sunshine. And
he
all he did was
sold that off, right?
Well, it was his family business. Okay. So the original family on the wife's side, they still own it.
Yeah.
That's all. He just walked away from that part.
So I mean, well, I guess my concern is that some bean counter, there's no accountants in here or anything, that would come along and start trying to tweak it to try to cut some of the gain some profit margins on it and stuff, and jeopardize
No,
the show.
totally not going to happen.
I guess you just have to look at the past of the founder.
The companies that he was in are still in business.
Still doing well.
They're still doing extremely well around the world. So trust me, meeting and working with Ken and just quite a few people in the room have the integrity of that whole family. It's just number one. I trust them, or I wouldn't be spending my time. I could do other things. Trust me.
Any other questions? You guys believe there's a lot in here. I think I will spam, but let's answer some.
I've got a specific question for you. Do you or Zija have anything to do with the good fortune of the Harvard basketball team?
Don't let this hype fool you. I'm as uncoordinated as they come. Putting one foot in front of the other is so challenging for me. Yes, the Harvard basketball team, no joke, right? When I went to Harvard, you would see thousands and thousands of people lined up to watch a rowing show, and there'd be like 3 people in the basketball game. I'm glad to see Harvard doing well.
They've done well.
Couple more questions. Go ahead.
Somebody might have asked this, but what kind of sweetener do you use?
What kind of sweetener?
So in the Smart Mix, it's a pure cane sugar. In a Super Mix, it's pure cane sugar followed by stevia, which in essence is a sweetener from the plant stevia, natural sweetener, and those are the 2 foundational sweeteners in our products.
I have
a question about the premium tea because I think you said to drink that in the evening, but it does have black tea in it. Am I wrong about that? I mean, regular tea has caffeine in it.
Yeah,
so.
there's no caffeine in them.
Oh, okay.
No caffeine.
Caffeine.
Oh, in fact, how many people find it helps you relax and go to sleep at night? Yeah.
Well, relax for a while.
Yeah. For the night. Go ahead, sir.
How about the correlation of Russ's what not to eat and what you can eat with the Moringa? Do you find that's a great tool for everybody to jump in with? And
I think Russ is an amazing man who has kind of a bottomless pit of knowledge. And believe me, I'm in constant communication with him, and I'm still trying to find the bottom of that pit. And I think he's got a lot of great advice.
Yeah. We, Russ and Ben and I did that, what not to eat, I think 3-4 years ago. It was quite a while ago. I know we need to revamp it. So.
It's an excellent source.
Yeah. Yes.
Would you ever consider using the super mix just with the sugar instead of stevia?
So yes, these are things that we are always considering, right? And ultimately, right when we did the stevia, it's a more potent sweetener than sugars, we were able to give it more. So that was something that we had to address. It was one of the ways that we were able to do that. But yes, that is something again that we consider.
Awesome, guys. Go ahead.
Is there any way we might take it too much? Like you take the Prime 90 as a meal supplement, but you still drink like the Smart Mix or the Super Mix. I mean, and you say there's Moringa in the Prime 90. So I mean, you can't like overdo it. I mean, you only absorb so much. Or...
I have a hard time taking too much. So what I'll usually do is take the AM capsule in the morning, go to the gym, come home, take Prime 90, use that for breakfast, and then I'll have an XM Plus around 3 o'clock, and then I'll have a Super Mix right after dinner. And so I got quite a bit of Moringa going.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people will take, Smart Mix or Super Mix and then the meal replacement. It's just food, right? That's all it is.
Or how many more questions?
One more question there. Yes.
Well, I was going to say to the city, I talked to Russ just about a month ago. I was in Mexico, and he said that he suggests when you do the Super Mix, one of the reasons he suggests you do the Super Mix and, maybe drink some in the morning and then some later, because every 4 hours, it stays in your body for 4 hours, and then you need more. So as far as like taking too much of it, that's probably why you can't take too much of it, because your body goes through it every 4 or 5 hours and you need more.
I'm a big advocate of taking that bottle and splitting it throughout the day. Okay.
One more question.
Okay, one more. That's it.
One more. On the XM Plus, I'm large. I drink a whole one. Do I need to have more in 4 hours? 5 hours? Or, I mean, what I've actually been doing is like cutting in half. Taking half in the morning, half at 1 o'clock. And then the Smart Mix at 5 o'clock. But do I need like a whole XM Plus and a whole XM Plus? I mean,
How are you making out losing weight?
I did really good for the first 2 or 3 months, and I'm kind of like stuck.
Are you doing that?
I'm going to really start the whole weight loss program.
Okay.
I've really not done that.
And I'd like to talk to you afterwards, and maybe we'll not do this XM Plus and just do the Super Mix. Well, I know we like the taste of it. I know. It's okay.
You've seen more results with
I'm
the
just
Super
being
Mix?
honest. Just in a field perspective, I see people that are really struggling with their weight loss. The XM Plus is designed for energy, correct? Energy.
Stay away.
When we do the other one as a weight loss system, I have more success with people losing weight when they just stick with the Smart Mix and Super Mix. This is designed for
Well, it
energy.
makes sense because that's
This is
helping
designed
with the
for
underlying problem.
Exactly. Okay? So, there's stuff we could talk about, and then just maybe try it for a while. Just do strictly Super Mix in your capsules, etc., and see how you do with that. I know Chad, he went through a major plateau. He was so mad at 180 pounds. Okay? And he couldn't lose another pound. And I found out he was on the XM Plus, took him off of that, and the weight started coming off again. He went onto the Super Mix. Okay, just experiment. There's no right or wrong way. Just experiment to what your body needs. But it's worth trying. Okay. We have samples in the back. Guys, I really appreciate all of you coming out tonight. Give Josh a big We'll be sticking around if you have any questions for a few minutes. Okay? I'd like to spend 15 minutes on the business if people want to get a sample and you want to stay. Okay, I'd love to. Yes, ma'am.
I have a son, like my family. Thank you. Your allergy. His asthma. It's also ADHD. Yeah. I have him on prime 90 in the morning with a little bit of super mix. Yeah. And that's the only way I can take it.